by the way.
Yeah, so does mine. It's just not letting me play the music. All right. All right, SEC fans, welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of SEC Fan Talk. Kind of let you down a little bit on what we originally said we were going to do as far as covering all the sports. It was just too much to cover. SEC did fantastic in the baseball World Series tournaments and the SEC tournament itself. All of it was great. Bradley, did you catch any of it? Tito, y'all catch any of it?
I mean, somewhat.
I watched the whole thing.
I wasn't real big on it, obviously. Well, yeah, you did, I'm sure. I'm more of a, you can judge me. I like NASCAR racing, but no. Tennessee gets into something like that. They put all the wind behind the sails of whatever team's doing good, It's like we've been good for 30 years at baseball for one time, but, I watched some of it.
There was a hefty new contract given at the end of that and guaranteed funds to upgrade facilities. So
well deserved. I mean, it's like you're playing at Science Hill High School. I mean, that's how good that stadium is right now.
Yeah, Tennessee did need some big boost in the baseball department, and they've got a good coach, and they actually got pretty hot there during the tournament, and they just didn't have the pitching to take them any further than they did. But yeah, Mississippi State, they just killed it, and Vanderbilt, they were an incredible team, but they, they.
Simone Biles.
You could have two of the best pitchers. You could have two of the best pitchers in the country, but if you can't hit the ball, you just can't hit the ball. And
you gotta be able to hit the ball.
You got to be able to hit the ball. Mississippi State, hats off to them. They have such a huge baseball following at Mississippi State. It's insane. So, no, it was great to see them win.
I mean, what else could they pull for Mississippi State? Just asking. That's asking for a friend.
Yeah, since Mullen left, there's not a whole lot to cheer for.
I mean, they pull for the Cowboys. I mean, that's the closest thing they got to football. They got the Cowboys. Because Dak Prescott. And he hurt his shoulder today.
No. We all know how off-season of basketball is going. Everyone, Rick Barnes getting his contract extension for Tennessee. Got that's the only the only basketball news that I've really kept up with. Hopefully we don't have another year of COVID bubble and all this other crap, and we get to have a real basketball season. That would be great coming up. But first, of course, is football. The big news, I'll go ahead, Tito, take it off. The big news for 2025 that will affect everything astronomically.
Yeah, it's going to change the entire landscape. I mean, this might be the biggest thing to happen to college football ever. With Texas and Oklahoma deciding that they are going to jump ship and join a real conference. And, I'm kind of torn. Half of me would like for the conference to stay the same, but the other half, Texas and Oklahoma is going to bring a ton of excitement to the conference. That's for sure.
I love hearing people on social media world talking about, well, who do you get rid of? They shouldn't have brought in Missouri. They need to dump Missouri. And, of course, me being me, I chime in immediately with Vanderbilt, dumping Vanderbilt. And, of course, last season, guys, we learned, everyone thought, which myself included, everyone thought, oh, no, you keep Vandy for the academics. And then, of course, after we had our guest, Eric Hensley, on and learned about the dynamics behind the funds and so forth with them and how they operate, I am 100% all for dumping Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vanderbilt, Missouri. They could both go.
By the way, what about Kentucky? I mean, they bring a basketball aspect, but so does Vanderbilt every once in a while. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean,
the real question
10
is
years.
how mad is Texas? Yeah, how mad is Texas A&M right now? Even though it's like when you're in college and you're getting ready to go on a date with a girl that used to date one of your old bros, and you're like, I mean, it's not even asking. Like the thing to do is ask, "Hey man, do you mind if I take a girl on a date? Your old girl, I've been broke 6 months ago." You just do it. I mean, that's just disrespectful. It's just disrespectful. You know what I mean?
The small town song is what's coming to mind. Small town country song when you're in a small town.
I mean, John Deere Green, maybe. I don't know. That makes no sense. It's funny.
I have said, when visiting Texas, you get the people down there and they say, "Oh, you're from Tennessee," and I'll have on my Tennessee stuff, and then they'll, well, welcome down here to the real UT. Well, now in 2025, hopefully we'll have the real UT lineup of who gets the title. And Brad, I'll go ahead and let you put in your line on that one.
I mean, I don't know if you really call it that because I'm just getting sick and tired of the real two. And you can have two UTs. Who cares, right? I mean, you can anyway. But I mean,
you know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say. UT. Which one was a state first, right?
Well, I mean, then they'll come back with. Obviously, I'm a Tennessee homer, being a natural born Tennessean in Nashville area, which is rare these days.
Which one was a university first?
They'll just say all their comeback is the Alamo. Everything you say, my response is Alamo.
And if both of this, Tennessee was a state, Tennessee was a university first, and if it weren't for the Tennessee Volunteers, Texas would be part of Mexico.
The Alamo. I mean, you can think of David Crockett, right? I mean, we can always come back with David Crockett.
So there it is. We know who the real UT is because there wouldn't be a University of Texas if it weren't for the University of Tennessee or the Tennessee Volunteers.
I just think you just turn it straight into an instant rivalry game.
Yes.
They call it the battle of mediocrity. The schools that think they're a whole lot better than they are, or the fan bases think they're, maybe not the schools, but the fan bases like, this is our year. It feels like '98. No, it feels like. It feels like 2020. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe 2019 because you got the kind of offense that Butch Jones ran, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. But we'll see. I'll give him a chance. But yeah, I mean, you just make it an instant rivalry game. Make a trophy of it. Bring out the beer barrel. I don't know. Get rid of Kentucky. That would be funny. But I think that's what I do. You just make it to an instant classic battle of mediocrity. UT versus UT. Maybe you find a place somewhere in the middle that it's like neutral. I don't know if you even go that far, or you do I guess I don't know. You can't do it every year with what the pod system I've seen, but that's something you can do. Turn into a rivalry game instantly.
That would be a pretty good idea, having a trophy between the two.
Yeah, the mediocrity trophy.
I mean, it shows like a credit score, and it says your credit score is okay. That's like your school is
needs
okay.
work.
The Credit Karma team of the week.
Yes, it's the Credit Karma rivalry UT game of mediocrity. Who raises their credit score higher this year? Your credit score is okay.
Speaking of mediocrity, have y'all looked at the schedule for week 1?
I actually have it brought up here. Hold on, because we play Bowling Green, right?
I love the Thursday night. We will be competing with high school football's game of the week in Tennessee with Bowling Green at Tennessee.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty good high school game if we're being honest.
So under new direction of Josh Heupel, that should be a pretty high scoring game for Tennessee.
I mean, who's the starting quarterback? I don't know. Does anybody know? Have they said?
Right, no, but a couple articles coming out of Young Buck returning.
Maurer?
No.
I don't know.
Harrison Bailey was looking really good. Yeah, he was looking really good.
My man has got oppo sleeves, one on the arm, one on the leg. I like it.
Both leaves.
Yeah, tattoo
ULM
sleeves.
ULM at Kentucky. I mean, there's no the U in Alabama. And of course,
That's
in
actually
Atlanta,
that's
Georgia.
an intriguing game. That's
That
an
one-
intriguing game.
That one may be. Let's see, Central Michigan and Missouri, Louisiana Tech at Mississippi State.
ETSU, what up? Watch
Akron
out,
at
Vanderbilt, for the
Auburn.
Buccaneers.
LSU at UCLA. That may be, and that game's on Fox.
Yeah, I think the Pac-12 has a deal with Fox. I think.
Wow.
Fox, FS1.
Another good is Georgia and Clemson. That's a good one there. An ABC game,
Yeah, that's massive.
neutral location.
That's the Chick-fil-A opening game, right?
I see that one's 7:30. The Alabama one is 3:30. Would be the opening game because it's always at Atlanta at the whatever they call the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
Oh, I thought that was the Georgia game.
I like the Florida Atlantic at Florida. It would be man, you get the Florida Atlantic. What is that? Owls go up and stomp up on the Gators a little bit.
Not going to happen.
Hey, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
They
Hey,
have
but-
all SEC teams have recruited very well this offseason.
Don't sleep on the Bucks. Don't sleep on the Bucks. Oh, I'm also going to go to the ULM Kentucky game, by the way, just an FYI.
So if we were to talk strength of schedule, let's just take a guess. Let's take 1 minute and take a guess on who has the hardest schedule of the. Let's do it in East and West. Who has the toughest schedule? SEC West. Don't look it up.
I'm not. Tito, you can go first.
Tito.
Yeah, I haven't looked it up, but
Okay. Take
I'm
a
gonna
guess.
go with I'm gonna go with LSU.
You're saying LSU.
So it's my turn. And I haven't looked it up either, I promise.
All right.
I'm going to say A&M.
All right, 2021 LSU is going to start off at UCLA, which we know is a big one, Rose Bowl Stadium. Then they're going to play the McNeese Cowboys.
Who?
Exactly. And then they're going to play Central Michigan.
What's up, Bush Jones?
The Chippewas.
And then they're going to go over to Mississippi State. And then they're going to host Auburn. Then they're going to Kentucky. Then they're going to host Florida. Then they're going to Ole Miss. Then they're going to Alabama. Then they're hosting Arkansas. Then the ULM Warhawks. And then the Aggies. That's not that's a pretty tough schedule.
How bad did I swing and miss on it, boys?
And who did you go with?
A&M.
Okay. 2021 schedule opening with Kent, and then at Colorado, and then hosting New Mexico Lobos, and then going to Arkansas, Mississippi State, Alabama, Missouri, Gamecocks, Auburn, Ole Miss, Prairie View A&M, and then LSU. I think LSU gets it out of those two.
Ooh.
Because you got the Gamecocks and you got the Tigers
the
in on
East
here.
schedule for...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the East schedule kills my... I mean, it helps A&M, but it kills my guess.
I'm going to say LSU definitely got that one there. My guess, and those are the only two that I've seen as I was calling them out. I'm going to say Ole Miss. I'm going to say Lane Kiffin has a hard way to go. He's opening in Louisville Monday, September 6th.
That can be a hit or miss game.
And it can. Then he plays Austin P and then Tulane. And then he has his bye week. His bye week is week 4, okay? So now he has to go through the meat of his schedule, which is Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, Auburn. Then the cupcake game is Liberty. Liberty Flames, not.
Yeah. That's where the old Ole Miss coach is, whatever his name is. Hugh Freeze. That's where he is.
Hugh Freeze. And then after Liberty, it's A&M, Vanderbilt, and Mississippi State.
They got an easy East schedule, too.
They do.
They play us and Vandy. Come on now.
Yeah. So, Luke, you are the winner of that. LSU Tigers for the West. And we'll kick it off with the East with Brad.
I'm thinking it has to be Georgia. Has to be.
He's calling Georgia.
They open up with Clemson. Yeah, that's a softball pitch right down the middle. It has to be Georgia.
What about you there, Tito?
Yeah, I mean, initially Georgia does. Instinctively, I do want to say that Georgia would have it just because of that Clemson game and the fact they're going to have to play Florida. But I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say it's going to be the University of Tennessee. It's going to have the toughest schedule in the East.
I may have to agree with you because they're going to start off with Clemson, right? And then they're playing normally Tennessee's early on game, which is UAB. And then the South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, Missouri, Tennessee, South Charleston, or Charleston South, and then Georgia Tech. So
Georgia Tech and a hell of
so
an
their West is just Arkansas and Auburn.
Is Auburn supposed to be any good this year? Has there been any updates other than Bo Nix?
I don't know. And so he's saying Tennessee.
I mean, I doubt it.
He's saying Tennessee. Tennessee is, of course, Bowling Green, and then Pitt, and then Tennessee Tech, and then Gators, Missouri, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Alabama, Kentucky, Georgia.
Always.
South Alabama, Vanderbilt. Maybe. I don't know. That seems a little rough.
And the middle of that schedule is going to be.
I mean,
the middle of that schedule for Tennessee.
The third Saturday in October kills us every year. Every year, the third Saturday in October kills us, except like in 1993 when I was 7 years old.
Yeah, that's tough. They've got. I mean, Ole Miss is going to be a tough one out of the West, and then you always playing Alabama. So,
have you all seen the breakdowns of like what's the projection of what maybe the idea is going to be when they restructure this when Oklahoma and Texas comes in 25?
I don't know, but I did you see where Tennessee is going to play in a Chick-fil-A kickoff game?
Yeah, who are they playing? They're playing
Syracuse.
Oh, okay. Let's hope to goodness gracious we can win that game.
In 2025.
But Syracuse did beat Clemson 2 years ago. They beat Clemson 2 years ago, so you can never know. I mean, they might not even have a football team by then. They've already taken that away once.
Oh,
I mean, what if when they do join, what if they split up Auburn and Alabama out of the West?
So I saw,
and maybe put them in the East. Who knows?
I mean, me being selfish, I kind of saw somewhat of a breakup of how they were going to break it into four different teams or 4 different pods.
Yeah.
And what I saw, and I only looked at Tennessee's pod, it was going to be us, Vandy, Auburn, and Alabama. You talk about, a murderer's row for Tennessee and Vanderbilt, which has just been trash in the past 20 years.
Hopefully there's a wild card. They introduce a wild card for somebody.
Well, then you get on the rotation, but it's definitely going to mess some stuff up. It's going to lose. Somebody's going to lose a couple of rivalry games. Bottom line.
It may
you're
make
either
it
gonna lose
interesting.
Tennessee, Florida. You're going to lose Tennessee, Alabama every year. I don't know.
Yeah, may make it interesting.
But put me in that division with Missouri, Kentucky. That's what it needs to be: Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. Now that would be a nice one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the way things are going, Tennessee would be walking out with at least 2 SEC guaranteed wins every year.
So
I think this is just a pretty obvious precursor to them expanding the playoffs. I mean, I think the way that this is going is that they're going to expand the playoffs. I think the talks have already been in the works, and it's probably already been decided that maybe it might be 2025 when they do expand it, but an expansion is coming. And how many teams that's going to be, who knows? But with by the time 2025 rolls around, they're going to have. There's a very good chance that they're going to have 3 out of the 4 teams every year are going to be SEC teams in the playoffs.
speaking of SEC teams, let's we'll close this out with the 247sports.com recruiting championship. And these, of course, will be SEC teams only. Who ranks number 1, guys, in number 1 recruiting for this year? Bradley?
I mean, your gut says Alabama, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say LSU.
Okay. Tito?
And I haven't looked at it.
I got to go with Alabama, considering they've had the number 1 class for the last 2 decades. So I would say probably a pretty safe bet.
So Alabama received 27 commits, 7 of which are 5 stars, 16 4 stars, and 4 3-star. Right under them is LSU with 23 commits, 2 of those being 5 stars and 16 4-star. Georgia, it's amazing how far down it drops after you get out of, the last couple years of champion winners, so you drop down to number 3, which is Georgia, with 20 commits, 4 of them being 5 stars, 11 being 4 stars. Texas A&M got 23 commits, 1 of them being a 5-star, 15 4 stars. Florida in the 5th spot with 23 commits, 1 of them being 5 stars, 12 being 4 stars. And guys, that is the end of the 5 stars for SEC. After that, Ole Miss got 7 4s, Auburn with 5, Tennessee with 17 commits, only 6 of them being 4 stars. Arkansas with 22 commits, 3 of them being 4-star. Mississippi State, 23 commits with 5. Missouri, 23 commits with 2 4 stars. Kentucky, only 18 commits with 4 of them being 4 stars. Vanderbilt actually got 23 commits, 1 of them being a 4-star, 22 of them being a 3-star.
4-star, big man on campus.
And down toting at the bottom is South Carolina with only 13 commits, 0 5-stars, 0 4-star, 13 3-star.
They've lost the state of South Carolina to Clemson. They've lost the state.
They have lost it. If we were to go look at who is number 1 in the nation, I'll only go through the top 5 on this, but who do y'all think is number 1 in the nation this year?
Ohio State.
I'm going Alabama again.
You are correct again, Alabama.
I was just wishful thinking.
But number 2 is Ohio State. So you hit those right on, just not in the right spot. Ohio State with 22 commits, 6 of them 5 stars, 13 of them 4 stars. LSU, so of course SEC holds first place, third place with LSU, fourth place with Georgia, and then Clemson comes in. They got 19 commits with 3 5 stars. Oregon somehow ranked 6th. They have 23 commits. None of them are 5, but 19 of them are 4, and that may turn out awesome because, the 5 stars can sometimes just be a bust.
Jared Garantano. Just saying. I mean, it had to be said. I was waiting for somebody else to say it. I'm like,
right.
Okay, I'll say it. I'll be the guy.
I mean, not only him, Brandon Cox for Florida. He was another one.
USC's ranked 7th with only 1 5-star. Texas A&M in 8th with 1. Notre Dame in 9th place. 27 commits, 12 of them 4-star. Oklahoma, Miami, Florida, Michigan, North Carolina, Texas, the Wisconsin, Ole Miss, Maryland, Auburn, Nebraska.
I have a devil's advocate question here, boys.
Yeah.
Who is out of head coach first? Okay.
Oh,
Obviously, the hot topic one would be Kirby Smart. Second one, Ed Orgeron. Who's out first?
ooh.
That's a tough one.
Because
Depends.
obviously,
There's a lot of whispering going around on LSU about there's some shady things that have been going on, but I don't know if there's any validity to that. I guess if they do catch LSU in some shady dealings, then Orgeron would be the first on the chopping block. But if I had to pick out of the two, I think that Orgeron saves his skin, and Kirby Smart is going to be right there at the top, because if they don't win the East this year, Georgia fans are going to have his bags packed for him and waiting for him at the last game of the season.
So there are 2 things that CBS Sports has put out that I want to go over. One is the longest leash of new coaches. Who has the longest leash because they know that they're going to rebuild, remodel. There are 2 names on there. One of
Lane
them,
Kiffin. That's my guess.
No. One of them is Clark Lee at Vanderbilt.
I didn't know who that was.
Well, he came from Notre Dame to Vanderbilt.
Okay, still didn't know who he was.
Leah, however you pronounce his name. Shane Beamer from Beamer Ball, South Carolina, has
Good
the longest
punters.
leash.
Good
The
punters.
shortest leash is whom?
It's probably the guy we just hired.
That is correct. Josh Heupel from Tennessee has the shortest leash.
I hate being a Tennessee fan. Why did God spite me with this? I hate it.
Hey, it's all right. He's going to bring in a Hipple to come help him. So it's going to be like it was at Oklahoma. They're going to have Hipple and Heupel.
We're going to have John Gruden one of these days, by God.
That's not happening.
We're going to have John Gruden one of these days, by God. That's what it
And here's another one they put out is most likely to win big later. Who may not come in right at the tip, but
Missouri's coach, whatever his name is.
No.
I can't say his name. He's from Appalachian State, but I can't say his name. Blue
Nope.
there for sure.
Nope.
Beamer?
Nope.
Because that's a terrible hire, just by FYI. Terrible hire. Unless you want a good punter. Like I said, I already said it once. I don't know. Who do you think, Tito?
Honestly, who's got the longest leash in the what?
You talking about who's going to win big later? How about Sarkisian from Texas? He's an SEC coach now.
Sarkisian. That is correct.
Oh, what a
there you go.
Got it.
And I ain't Googling.
Got it. Well, boys, we have hit the 30-minute mark. We're trying to keep that down around that 30-minute mark for moving forward into this year. Try to retain
Called the
back.
lightning round.
Retain back some of that. It was awesome to get in here and get to talk a little bit of football and a little bit of stats. And, of course, the only really big news was the one that Tito went over there for 2025, how things are going to change. think next week's show we really need to focus on college football playoff expansions. The Pac-12, I believe, is who's really holding up from not expanding. And we'll talk more about that in next week's show, guys. Anything y'all want to add?
Are they afraid to change their name to like the Pac-17? We did not bring up the big deal about. Go ahead, Luke.
Oh, I was going to say if it gets to the point in 2027 and we absorb Ohio State and somebody else and Clemson, then the Pac-12 might just drop their football programs across the board because I don't think there's going to be much point for them after that.
Can you hear him? The other thing we didn't bring up is the ability to sign a contract with a clothing company.
Oh, that is definitely a next week. That is, yes.
Yeah, we didn't bring that up.
Because that is on the cusp.
Because my dude Fulkerson from UT signed with Pals, and if you've never heard or had a Pals drive-through, you have to live.
And if you go to Pals, you get the sweet tea.
No, you do, but you also get the cheddar rounds. Holler.
If you're not from East Tennessee, you have never heard of Pals.
Look it up. Make a trip. Make a trip. It's worth it. You can't eat in, can't sit down. Which is, it's great it's probably great for profit margins because they have no overhead. But it's fantastic. All right, listeners, thank you for tuning in to Season 2, Episode 1, the 2021 Kickoff Show. No punt intended on the Kickoff Show. Don't make fun of Beamer.
What are you watching, Brad? That's what I want to know, because you are definitely, while still contributing heavily, there is something on television.
Well, so the funny thing that I'm watching is the rerun of the Formula One race that I got up at 7 a.m. to watch this morning. So it's it's just weird. I'm watching it again, even though I've already seen it.
Speaking of Formula One races, are you going to the Music City, whatever they're calling it, race downtown?
Oh, that's the IndyCar, and no, I'm not. I'm actually going to Atlanta for Colton having a big shindig down there, housewarming party in the ATL. Peace up, A-Town down. I will be down there next weekend. And it's not really ATL. It's more like, I can't remember. It's Dalton, Georgia, but might as well talk. Dalton. It's Dalton, Georgia, which I think is actually closer to Chattanooga, but it's neither here nor there.
Isn't Dalton like home of carpet?
No, well, I don't even want to talk about that.
Flooring capital of the world.
It is carpet. It is the carpet flooring. It's the carpet capital of the world. I know all about that because we are, always down there on the roof for somebody.
So you're going down to lay some carpet.
No, I'm going down there for a big old housewarming shindig. Do I got to hit him with it just means more? Do I still got to say that?
Yeah, you can go ahead. I'll have to edit it in because for some reason.
Well, see, what you need to do is, I'll do it again, but like I ask, you're supposed to put that into, because it really means more now because Texas and Oklahoma are coming. It's like the winter is coming. Winter is coming.
It just means more with an asterisk. It'll mean more soon.
Sooner rather than later. It still means somewhat. It means pretty much a lot, but it's going to mean a lot more here in about 5 years, 4 years.
In about 5 years. Listeners, thank you again. Check us out. We will start this year live streaming and being able to have live comments as we are doing the show. So, and people that can chime in and get on with us just instantaneously. So thanks for the support last year that enabled us to add some more, tinkering things, add some more technology to us this year. We appreciate it. And you have a good weekend. Get ready. The countdown is how many days? Good. As my kids are screaming in the background.
I think Tennessee kicks off 9-2. So we got 32 days. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right. 31, 32 days, something like that. We are hovering in on a month until Tennessee competes with high school football Thursday night.
How the mighty have fallen.
I would love to see the TV rankings at night. And for your local UHN, what is channel 30 or 14, whatever it is, where they show the local high school game. It was a battle for TV spots there between the University of Tennessee versus Bowling Green and
Ottawa versus Dobbins Bennett
and the Hillsboro High School and Overton Bobcats. Awesome, everyone! Thank you so much, and have a good night.
It just means more.